This is Eat, Sleep, Invest, the marketing podcast for real estate investors to get more deals. Hey, welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Eat, Sleep, and Invest. I'm your host, Bryan Driscoll, and I'm here with Dave Seymour. What's going on, Dave?
How you doing, brother? You know what? I was looking at the title, Eat, Sleep, Invest, and all I think of is Eat, Pray, Love. Remember? What was that, like a movie or a book or something?
Right.
So I'm looking at the title of this thing, and I'm like, what am I getting myself into? But now I know what I'm getting myself into, so it's all good. Eat, Sleep, Invest. Love it. I'm here for you. I'm good, man. How are you?
Hey, pretty good, man. Thanks.
Good.
Hey, so Dave, so you have a lot of experience in different areas. Like you were on A&E, flipping Boston, investor. Like, why don't you give everyone a little bit of background on all the experience and some of the failures and successes you had?
Failures? I never fail. What are you talking about, failures?
Right.
You know what? Beware of the guy or the girl who says they never fail. Beware of the guy or the girl that's fanning out $1 million in $100 bills, right? They're all fugazi. Look, for me, I'll keep it succinct. You know, I'm respectful of time and people's ability to stay listening, but I'm an immigrant to the States. I came over back in '86. I'm from a working class family. I grew up on an English council estate, which is probably the equivalent of the American projects. We didn't know we were broke. Give me a soccer ball and a piece of grass and I was happy. It was pretty much that simple. I came over to the States in '86 following my first wife. And we were talking before we started recording, Bryan. I moved from London, England to New York City, from New York City down to Shadyside, Ohio, in the panhandle of Ohio, and then across the river over to Wheeling, by God, West Virginia. And back then we used to drive, what is it, I-90 that runs, no, not I-90.
I-79.
I-79. Used to drive I-79 up to Pittsburgh so we could go play at Kennywood Park. I processed for the American Air Force, the U.S. Air Force in Pittsburgh. And I didn't continue with it because the guys told me I could do a job and they lied. Go figure, the military just trying to get me to sign up. And so I got a little history with you guys, yuns and y'all, right? I know who you are. I get it.
Oh, yeah.
And anyway, I moved around a little bit, came up to New England. And up here in New England, I was very blessed. Buddy of mine, actually, he said to me, why don't you try and join the fire department? I'm like, what? He goes, join the fire department. It's a good government job. You're styling and profiling. You work 2 days on, 2 days off, 2 days on, 2 nights on, 4 days off. He said, you know, do about 45 hours a week. And I'm like, yeah, I could do that. I'm a guy's guy. I always want to be a cop or a firefighter, you know, service in the community. And that's what I did. I joined the fire department. But what I also brought with me was financial illiteracy. I was stupid, man. I was a financial donkey because I'd never been trained in money. I'd never been trained in capital. And then once you get on the fire department, you get these things called credit cards and you can go and buy cars, boats, and leather coats. And like I was dumb, man, keeping up with the Joneses. Long story short, found myself about $70,000 in credit card debt, unsecured debt. My house was upside down pre-crash of 2008. I was working construction on my days off. Thank God I knew a little bit about construction because it paved the way to where I am today. And then nights and weekends, I'm working a third job. I'm doing like 120 hours a week trading time for money. And, you know, I look back on all of that today, Bryan, and it was foundational, right? It was appreciation of what it takes to bring something from nothing to something, be it an ugly house and make it beautiful, be it, you know, somebody who entrusts you with their retirement capital so that you can give them a good return, understanding how to communicate well with other people at any level, be they a judge, a Yale or a Harvard graduate, or whether they're, you know, the guy who's drinking a coffee and working on a post hole digger. Like I learned how to be a friend to all of them and understand how the economics work. But anyway, I found myself in a pretty rough financial position. I'm praying to my guy upstairs, like I need some help. I can't keep doing what I'm doing. I was losing my house 2006 and 7. It was an absolute crap show. And there was a commercial came on the radio, Teach Me Foreclosure, a free 1.5 hour seminar coming to your neck of the woods. And I'm like, okay, God, I'm going. Because I knew that there was more money in real estate than just, you know, making $300 a week on the side, digging ditches and trying to build, you know, decks. And that was where it really started. I went to a seminar with my now wife, Mary Beth, and invested money we didn't have. It was funny. At the end of day 3 of this seminar, right, the gurus were going around. At the end of day 3 of this seminar, it was like a $27,000 investment for 5 classes, wholesaling, what was it? Wealth University or something stupid like that was one of the classes. And I'm in. I mean, I got to do something different. And my wife invested that 27 on her credit cards. And, she never regretted that decision. She was my first private lender. And then it just kept going from there, man. I did my first deal, my second deal, 2008. I'm wholesaling bank-owned properties when everybody said you couldn't. You just had to learn how to work the contracts properly and respectfully. Got recognized by the Attorney General's office in Massachusetts as the #1 distressed asset investor in the state. So I worked with Martha Coakley in the Attorney General's office. A lot of these house flippers, like, they hide from the Attorney General's office. I partnered with them. You know what I mean? And we got some good traction out of it. My life changed, and after 16 years in the fire department, I retired. I say I retired. I quit. Cost me too much money to go to the firehouse, brother. Things were working so well on the other side. So that's kind of like the short version of how it all started. Woof, man, I can talk. I need something to drink.
That's good. Hey, do you remember who was the seminar?
Whitney.
Okay.
Russ Whitney. And then check this out for shits and giggles. I would say 2 years after doing the TV show, now I'm all that in a bag of chips, right? Because I'm on TV. I'm super special. Just ask me. And I got invited to be a keynote speaker at some event somewhere. And Russ Whitney was the other keynote speaker, straight up. And he was slightly, I won't go there. He had some challenges, right? So I go up to him and I'm like, "Hey, Russ, I'm Dave Seymour, flipping Boston." I said, "I'm a student." I said, I just wanted to thank you for teaching me." I said, "I paid for 5 classes. I only attended 2. Can I get a refund on the other 3? You should have seen him, right? I think he had taken a lot of NyQuil the night before. He was slightly out of it. And he looked at me and he's like, and I'm like, "It's okay, Russ. Much love, man." And I mean it sincerely today. I've got to meet some pretty impressive, influential people, in this journey along. So everybody, a reason, a season, a lifetime, right? Right. You never know why somebody comes into your sphere of influence. And, he was a reason. He wasn't a season or a lifetime, but he was definitely a reason. He was that catalyst to move me forward in education and then implementation,
That's cool. Yeah, it's funny how those things work. I actually have a similar story. My dad took me back when I was like 17 to a Ron LeGrand seminar.
Oh, I love Ron. He's my man. Yeah.
So go to the back of the room, $1,800 for the course. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. First real estate investor with their credit card to the back table gets a bonus.
Right. Yeah. So I did the same kind of thing. I failed really bad initially, though, for like 5 years, but then kind of figured it out. But yeah, same thing. I don't know if they do those live seminars anymore, do they?
What happened was like the quick down and dirty seminars kind of petered out. There's a lot of scam artists in that world, and some of the larger organizations stepped up. And again, also in the larger organizations, it's about fulfillment, right? If I spend $20,000 or $25,000, there's an argument to be made, right? Could you take that $25,000 and put it into a piece of real estate? Yeah, you could, but do you know what the hell you're doing? Are you ready to lose that $25,000? And if nothing else, here's the real secret, and probably people are not going to like this when they hear it, but I'm going to tell it anyway. What I did that day is I purchased $27,000 worth of accountability, because no more could I just talk shit. Now I had to actually do something, because it was on my wife's credit cards. She's sitting there in the kitchen looking at me like, "I love you, but let's go." You know what I mean? So accountability is a dirty word for a lot of people. We're really good at starting something, Bryan, but we're not too strong when it comes to finishing something. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I'm going to do this. Awesome. Go get him, killer. And then they're sitting around watching reruns of Oprah. You know what I mean? So yeah, implementation, brother. You know what? You're right too. Cause I was actually just talking to some guys I was just at an event down in Dallas, and same type of thing. It's like, everyone's in their headspace, number one, following through. And I also see people too. It's like, hey, you know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to start, quit my day job when I have 100 grand in the bank.
And then they get to 100 grand. They're like, I don't think I can do it still.
Yeah.
A lot of head game in this space.
There is a lot of head game. I think what happens is a lot of people are learning information from a place of greed, right? So as a salesman, I can tantalize the greed button. There are things that we can say and do that are dopamine hits for the pleasure sensations in our brain and body, right? What would it be like if an investor did this and they got that? What would it be like if all you did was have a piece of paper and you sold it to another investor and you made $5,000? Would that change your life? Ooh, right? And people they get into that. Now, the reality is I've taken a piece of paper, I've sold that piece of paper to another investor, and I've made, I think my biggest wholesale fee in my career was like $120,000. It took me that long in 1 year to earn that much money, right? So it's real. But what happens is that it's not easy. It's freaking hard. Okay. If anybody tells you this business is easy, run away from them. Run, Forrest, run. Right. Do a little Forrest Gump on them. Right. But if you can find somebody to help guide, inspire, direct, in truth, then it's a game changer. That's mentorship, man. That's following in somebody else's successful footsteps. So
yeah, you're right too, and especially like a lot of people that are successful, they want to help other people that are willing to work. Like successful people are looking, hey, if you got some hustle, I want to help you succeed.
Yes, and that was how it worked for me. I mean, I bought value in the sense of I didn't have any money when I started, but I had connections to city organizations because I was a firefighter, so I knew who to talk to and where to talk to. I knew what they liked in their coffee and the cookies. Right? It is what it is, man. You gotta find out what value. You haven't got to do anything. I try and rephrase that. Do whatever the hell you want. But what I did was I identified the value that I had that was intrinsic, and I brought it into the marketplace, and I was compensated for it. So that's the journey, if you will.
Yeah, that's cool. How'd you get into TV? How'd you get in that from doing real estate?
Yeah. So, I started in the seminar world as a student, and then somebody was speaking one time. He was a firefighter in LA, and he was selling websites. This was way back in the day. And his stand-up routine or his hour-and-a-half presentation at the seminar was horrific. It was horrible. He had no comedic timing. He had no engagement. And I felt bad for the guy. I paid $5,000 for his websites, but I felt bad for the guy. And I went up to him afterwards and I went, hey, I bought your websites. I go, your presentation sucks. Your comedy's awful. And he's like, who are you? I'm like, I'm Dave. I'm a firefighter in the Boston market. You're a firefighter. I love you, brother. You love me. Some of that silliness. But I said to him, I said, look, man, I did a little stand-up comedy in the pubs and clubs back in London. I could give you a couple of pointers. And the guy said to me, you're my comedy coach. I have a 3-day event in Orlando next week. I'm going to fly you down and pay you $1,000 for being there. And I'm like, stop it. Get out of here. You can give me no money. He gives me his cell phone number. And I thought about it. My take-home pay from the fire department back there was like $300 for a week. And this guy's going to give me a G note just for showing up and telling him he's not funny. That was how it started, man. I got on the inside. I was on the other side of it. So I have a very, very dialed in understanding of the guru seminar world. We'll just leave it at that, right? And it was because of those connections that I then made being in that world that, there were masterminds back then that Gary Vaynerchuk was in before he became Gary V. And, some other big names that we know today, like they were all starting back then. Sam Merrill from Fortune Builders, like guys who have just rocketed their careers. So it's interesting because once you change who your influences are, your outcomes change, right? If you just sit in a firehouse and complain with five other firefighters, you're going to get the same shit. But if you start interacting with a group of marketers, entrepreneurs, business owners, by association, those things change. Anyway, it was what the hell? Russell Brunson from what's his ClickFunnels. Russell was in this little mastermind group we were in. And he sent out an email to a bunch of different guys and girls that he thought would be good for a TV show. And I was on his email chain, like I knew him in the group. And I applied for the TV show, and it was a vanilla application to send into a group in New York. And I knew after being around these guys, I knew that marketing needed to be that my message was louder and more engaging than anybody else's. So how the hell do you do that with a vanilla 1-page or 2-page application? I defaulted to my favorite way of getting people's attention, which is profanity. It works every single time. I loaded the application with profanity, name of your company, Go F Yourself LLC. Like I put all kinds of stuff in there that I wouldn't repeat on this show. Maybe on a Joe Rogan show I'd do it, but not on this one. And the catchphrase at the bottom of the application was, I'm Dave, the British Bulldog of real estate and laughter. I'm also a firefighter. I do my real estate business the same way I do firefighting. When everybody else runs out, we go running in. I said, don't call me. Just get on a plane, train, automobile, bring your camera. Let's go, baby, go. Don't effing waste my time. And I hit send. What have I got to lose, Bryan? Nothing. 212 area code calls my phone in about, 10 minutes after I hit the send button. And I see it's in New York. And I go, I thought I told you not to call me. And I hung up the phone. And I'm like, please call back. And the kid was laughing. He was a New England kid. And he's like, dude, you're either a lunatic or you're a genius. He said, but you're a funny bastard. I said, look, man, I got you on the phone, right? Let's go. Bring up the cameras. I got some skills. Let's go. And that was how it kind of started. And then we did 3 thinking that was it. And then we had the highest rated show on a Saturday morning in that bracket, if you will, that they had on A&E. Next thing you know, they're like, okay, we want 13 more episodes. And then we're on another 13 episodes. And it got to be a full-time job just making a TV show. So that's how it all started.
That's crazy. It takes some balls, man. It takes some balls.
Well, what do you got to lose? Right. Think about it for a second. What do you got to lose? We spend so much of our time allowing everybody else's restrictions to control us, right? Who am I hurting? I'm not hurting anyone. So I swore on a piece of paper. You know what I mean? Whatever. But think about it. What do you got to lose?
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I kind of thought about it when I did it. Nobody else knew I was doing it. I just did it for shits and giggles.
Yeah, that is true too. Because everyone's like, oh, what's everyone going to think about me? It's like, what everyone else thinks about you is none of your business.
Dude, that's what Jack Canfield told me. Canfield, like I became a real heavy student of Jack Canfield. Like I really understood him. He was an academic. I wasn't. So that was kind of like the disconnect. But a lot of what he talks about in his literature and his writings and his teachings, he came through the Chicago inner city school system. He just wanted to inspire and drive, thinking and self-worth and good things. And I remember sitting in a firehouse, and I was listening to something, and he said exactly what you just said on the tape. He said, one of the freedoms of life is when you can honestly look in the mirror and say to yourself, other people's opinions of me are none of my business. And I almost got to a Dr. King moment where it was like free at last, free from bondage of self. And, a big proponent of The Secret. And I said to myself, one day I'm going to hang out with Jack Canfield. I'm just going to hang out. I'm going to shoot the shit with Jack. Long story short, a couple of years later, I did exactly that. I met his assistant at an event I was speaking at, and he wasn't doing any one-on-ones anymore. And she said to me, no, he doesn't do one-on-one coaching. She said, but, only for extremely special people. I said, well, congratulations. I'm special. I'm the guy. And I did. I spent 20 grand. Think about that. I spent 20 grand to hang out with Jack Canfield for one day. And I walked into his house out in California. And as I walked into the living room, he looks at me and he goes, my assistant says you're a pretty dynamic person. What? And he'd done a little research on me. He says, what can I do for you? I started crying like a baby, Bryan. I really did. I'm bawling like a little baby. He goes, what can I? You go, Jack, you already done it. You don't need to do anything else. I love you, man. That's what it felt like to me. And, I've been able to invite him onto my podcast, and, I've been able to interact with him occasionally. So, it's been a blessing. Again, never would have happened if I didn't just put myself out there and give it a go,
Yeah, I'm seeing a common theme here too, surrounding yourself with awesome people.
Oh, for sure. Look, the inner circle gets smaller the older I get and the more successful I get, right? It gets smaller. And that can sound like an inverse of helping others. But what happens is that time then becomes the most valuable commodity, right? I'm 56 years old next month. I have a 10-year-old, a 12-year-old, 27-year-old son, and a wife who still loves me. those are the number one priority. That woman who invested in me that many years ago, I always say she's the rock that I get to stand on so I can look cool. So, outside of that family unit, the inner circle, the people that I want to be around, it gets smaller. And the other thing is surrounding myself with people who are smarter than me. I don't want to be the smartest guy in the room ever. I don't ever want to be that person. My ego has just got smaller and smaller over time. Ego, ego, E's got out. It's like, if all I think about is myself, what's the freaking point? There's no chance to serve others. So it's definitely, that's a good insight. It's definitely a theme of, getting in the way of something good is the way I kind of termed it back in the day. So
yeah,
I've stayed that journey.
That's huge too, because it's uncomfortable getting into those situations. Like a lot of people, you know what I mean? It's
but if you're going into those situations with other people's opinions and none of my business,
right,
then so be it. Look, man, I could go on forever. There was a pivotal moment early in my career. I was out to dinner with about 15 gurus, right? And these guys and girls were all sitting around this table. It was at Texas Day Brazil down in Orlando. And, the bullshit about watches, who's got the most expensive watch conversation came on, right? And one guy was talking about his $120,000 Rolex. And this other guy's, like Mr. Wonderful. He's got to tell everybody he's got all these watches, right? So they're doing the, who's got the biggest watch conversation. And before I went down, Mary Beth had spent $300 on a brand new watch for me. And I loved it. And it was a gift, and she gave it to me so that I looked as sharp as I possibly could in the situations I was in. And as they went around this table, I remember the internal dialogue was, I don't belong. And I literally covered my hand over this watch that the woman who loved me, the woman who had invested in me, had given to me as a gift of support and congratulations. And I put my hand over it because I was ashamed. Dude, there was, I'm going to get emotional now. There was like this rage that began to well up inside of me, an absolute rage. And the rage was, I belong wherever I choose to belong. And other people's opinions of me are none of my business. And from that day forward, I just went at it, everything with a vengeance, because I got to know some of those gurus. And to be very frank with you, some of them were just straight up scumbags, and they only had what they had at somebody else's expense. And I wanted to go out into the world and gain things for my family by serving other people, not by causing harm. So it's been a trip, dude. My dad thinks I'm a drug dealer. My dad back in England. I was in Texas. I was teaching a class, and I had a chance to fly my father over, and there was 300 people in a room, great energy. And I flew in first class, and he stayed in a nice hotel with his then wife, his second wife. And, I just took care of him, and he's looking at me, his son, and he's like, I'm not sure what it is you do over here in America, David. What do you do? He goes, you're not a drug dealer, are you? I go, no, Dad, I'm in real estate. I promise I'm not. That guy know you at the restaurant. You live in Boston, and the restaurant's in Texas. I said, he watches the TV show, Dad. I'm freaking famous, mate. I'm famous. A lot of blessings, brother. A lot of blessings.
That's great, man. So your dad's he's still over there?
Yeah, he's still over there. Yeah, my stepmom, Annie, she's pretty sick, stage 4. So my dad's going to be 80 in February, I think. And, I got room for him. I can take care of him if he wants me to. You know what I mean? Like, those are blessings too. My wife, Mary Beth, who I married, was a nurse. So her DNA is to take care of other people. So, he's over there, but, God is good. He'll look after him. He looks after us. Maybe he'll be here with us in the States. Maybe he won't. It's just, being there to do what you can for him during a tough time, Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And what? It's cool. You can get the financial freedom. It's like, oh yeah, you have the freedom now from the work you put in before to be able to do those things.
Oh yeah.
Come on over.
Yeah. If it's not even if it's when the call comes that he needs me at his side, I don't have to ask anybody, hey, can I get a couple of vacation days? My stepmom just passed away. I got to go see my dad. Oh, I don't have any vacation. Can I get a swap? Hey, Bob, will you work for me so I can go take care of my father? I don't have to ask permission anymore. You get the freedom to choose. The freedom to be able to make those decisions. It's a blessing. It's a blessing. Gratitude, man. Gratitude for sure.
Really cool.
Yeah.
Hey, so now you're doing some big stuff. Now you're doing like syndications, or what do you got going there?
Yeah, the buy, fix, and flip was cool, but it's a job, right? If you don't buy a house, fix a house, sell a house, you don't get paid. All through my career, I was also involved in the buy and hold strategies. I've been a landlord. I've dealt with tenants, toilets, and trash, and all the crap that goes along with it. Like, I've played all of those games. But as I learned that business while I was flipping houses, I also lent a lot of money. I was a lender, hard money lender, private lender. So I learned the financial side of the business intently. And going into the lending industry kind of crumbled, right? Everybody who said there was a lender, they're not a lender anymore because they're not getting in the way of somebody else's money. Looked at the landscape, and I said to a couple of partners of mine, I said, you know what? We need to control the capital. I don't want to be in a position where I can't control the flow of the capital. That's where the action is going forward. And we do that through multifamily investing, large apartment complexes, and then also ground up development. And what happened was it created a massive migration of people, as we know. We saw massive inflation. We know what's going on there. The interest rates went through the roof, migration all over the country. You got trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars of free money that never was created due to the transference of goods and services, right? So all of that creates chaos. What it created is the fact that the single family home prices have gone through the roof. People can't afford a home. Now they doubly can't afford a home, not only because of lack of inventory, but now the interest rates have gone so high that the cost of capital is through the roof. And it's an absolute tsunami of BS. And within all of chaos, and this is an important thing, every chaotic transference in our culture, right? And this is what we're going through, creates massive opportunities. And it all depends on how somebody looks at it, right? Another man's trash is another man's treasure. Inflation rates for one person are devastating. For another person, it's opportunity. So what we do is we currently have about $320 million worth of real estate transactions in our pipeline in built for rent, single family communities in Southwest Florida. I'm about to go vertical and close on a $20 million loan in the next couple of days on a 106 unit apartment complex that we're doing. And then what we do is we'll either put them in a fund structure, maybe 3 or 4 deals in a fund, so that people get the same diversity. That, think about it as you would in a fund in the stock market, right? In a mutual fund, you've got 20 businesses in there. Well, in our fund structure at Freedom Venture, you might get 8 properties in there. So one might be an apartment complex, one might be a 24-unit townhome complex, one might be a 300 single-family homes. But again, for rent. And when we start looking at the economics and we bring in the LP capital, the limited partner capital, to bring the money to the table, and then bring in the construction debt and then the permanent financing after that, the return profiles are pretty substantial. I can't tell you how many inbound calls I'm getting right now. I got Bloomberg on the TV up here in my home office. I don't see green anywhere. You know what I mean? I mean, the stock market is just getting brutalized. And everybody who's like, hey, crypto's where it's at. I don't know shit about crypto. I understand sticks and bricks and people that want to rent and live in decent, affordable housing. I got that one figured out. So we're seeing a lot of capital now coming towards us, working with a venture capitalist company that's trying to put together an SPV, special purpose vehicle, for about 100 mil. They want to come and play in our sandbox. Bought in a family office recently worth $2 billion. Imagine that, dude, sitting there talking about those numbers. When, 16 years ago, I'm sitting in a firehouse praying that the phone would ring so I could trade another 18 hours or whatever for $200 in overtime pay, So, yeah, we're really blessed. We love working with self-directed retirement account holders. They love the velocity of capital that we can offer in our pro formas. Work a lot with business owners, doctors, lawyers. I'm having dinner tonight with a plastic surgeon. He's a buddy of mine. He's got a $250,000 with us. So, we're putting other people's money to work. But with that becomes massive responsibility. I only have one responsibility, and that's my fiduciary responsibility to my investors. Don't lose the money, period. End of chat. I might not always hit every pro forma number, but touch wood and whistle, as we used to say back in England. I haven't lost a dime of investor capital since I started in real estate. Lost a couple of bucks of my own, but never anybody else's. So that's what we do today. We work other people's money in development projects in Florida.
That's pretty cool. And especially because you could bring all your experience from before.
Oh, for sure.
Other people people that don't understand real estate, or they're just looking for that passive income.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
I got some money. I want to get into real estate. I don't want to take the bumps and bruises you already took.
Yeah. Our team, and you know, that really is the bottom line. Like you described it perfectly in one sentence. We talked about failure earlier on, right? A buddy of mine used to say, I love failure. I fail forward. But the thing is, let me do the failing. I've already done it. This is what I do 24/7. I live, eat, breathe this stuff. You know, the retiree, 55, 65 years old, they've worked their career. And their retirement plans and the stock market and 401k bullshit doesn't suffice anymore. You know, you could, if you wanted to, you know, spice it up, right? Put that. I think that statistically, if just putting, I believe it's 13 to 15% of cash flowing commercial real estate into a portfolio just has massive impact to the positive on its return profile. So I never talk about this or that. I always describe this and that, right? It's not all or nothing, but being able to leverage, like Walter, for example, my chief investment officer, ex-special forces, military, the guy you want in the trenches, the guy you want by your side in the world of finance and real estate. Got over 25 years in Southwest Florida, Cape Coral, Fort Myers, from ground up development stuff. Here's the secret sauce, and you know this because you've been in the business. And if your listeners are in the business, they know this too. This is a fact. I don't give a crap where you are, anywhere in this country, in any market. There is one breakfast joint somewhere in your market where about 4 or 5 people meet, maybe on a Tuesday morning at 7 o'clock. And you know that group of guys and girls know what the hell is going on in the market. Like they know everything in that 5, 10, 15-mile radius. How do they get the deals? How did they know what's going on? Because they've been there so freaking long. And that's my team in Florida. That's Walter. He knows everybody from the huge home buying, the home building companies, all the way down to the little mom and pops. So that gives me, you know, 50% of my deals are off market. You know, investors and other competitors, they're like, how did you get that deal? I go, I don't know, man. We just got lucky. You know, it was Walter having a cup of coffee at 7:30 with a guy who said, go talk to a guy who knows a guy, you know. Is that sustainable? Yes. You know, is that scalable? Yes. Right. The advantage in the scalability has been the TV show, right? Because it's like, hey, I'm Dave from Flipping Boston. Some people care, some people don't, some people remember, some people don't, but it opens doors. So the next market for us to dominate will be the Carolinas. Then I'm going to come over and start kicking some ass in Texas. You know, it's good. We're in a good place. Not going to do it in New York, not doing it in Massachusetts, not doing it in Pittsburgh. It's not, no. I like the states where the states like us. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah, so true. Yeah, New York's crazy. I talk to investors up there, like it is so hard to get a deal done. It's so hard to remodel, permits, all this kind of crap.
And you can't find yield afterwards. I mean, where's the yield? I learned a long time ago to have an expectation of 20% return on my money. Now, do I get it every time? No. Do I sometimes do better? Yeah. But what if I only got a 10 to 12% return on my money? Is that good? It is in this market. You know what I mean? So I'm not finding that in Boston. We're buying in a three cap market and a 4 cap market. And we're going to raise the rent 17% for the next 10 years so we can pay you a return on your money. You're a liar, you know, underwrite with a conservative attitude, you know, and if you do that, you don't hurt anybody, right? You don't hurt anybody. So that's the way that we do our business. Yeah.
I like it. Hey, Dave, so we're running out of time, but if anyone wants to get in touch with you, like, okay, well, first, your target audience, like who's your target or your ideal person that would invest with you? I mean, I'm assuming
avatars. Yeah, they're accredited investors. Accredited investors is determined by the SEC. Most of our offerings are what's called a 506c Reg D offering. So an accredited investor is an individual who earns $200,000 a year or more, $300,000 a year or more as a family unit, or $1 million in net worth, not including primary residence. Do not disregard yourself as an accredited investor because of what I just said. A quick phone call, a quick click on one of our links, and we can help you figure out whether you're qualified for these kinds of investments or not. Because you can include retirement accounts, you can include, jewelry, hard assets as well. So a lot of people who think they're not accredited find out that they are, and then we just look at what their investing goals are. But business owners, busy professionals, lawyers, doctors, accredited investors, other real estate investors, it cracks me up. Guys who own marketing companies, right? I've got them all. I got all walks of life there. And even some of our, I bought in insurance brokers, mortgage brokers. The mortgage brokers are all calling us now because their gravy train just ran out. And they're like, okay, the gravy train ran out. I don't have the expendable capital anymore. I got to get smart and put the money to work. Can you help me out? I'm like, yeah. How's a three equity on your 3x on your principal over 5 to 7 years? Would that work for you? What? I go, we got a deal, targeted deal. You put in $100,000 in 5 to 7 years. I give you back your $100,000 plus $200,000. That's a 3x on your money. Would that work for you? Would that help you out? Yeah. Show me that. So that's right. That's where we live in. But my avatar is an intelligent investor. It's not a quick flip guy. And I don't mean to say that they're not intelligent. I mean, this is mature investing. This has got some longevity to it rather than the quick turn that we're used to in the single family business.
And there's a lot of tax benefits too, right?
Through the roof, dude. I am not your accountant. I am not your attorney. I'm not giving anybody any financial or legal advice. But do a little research on cost, segregation, and depreciation. It's possible. It's possible. I've heard, I don't know, that some investors will make $100,000 and yet they got $120,000 in write-offs. I don't know. I'm not really good at math, but I think that's a tax-free investment. I don't know. It could be, right? But even if you're doing it in a self-directed IRA, that's also a tax-free investment. So yeah, the taxation side is, that's why the 1%ers do it, man. That's why the wealthy institutions do it. They don't do it just for the financial value of the deal. They do it for the write-off structure. And
write-off's huge.
It's crazy. It's crazy what can happen with real estate. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, because people see the return, especially people in business, that cost segregation. It's like, oh yeah, it's crazy. I think you save I don't know the exact number. You might save $15,000 in tax off every $100,000 you buy in a property or something.
Yes, yeah. It's nice. We get woohoo when they get their W-2s at the end of the year. You know what I mean? Their K-1s at the end of the year. They get excited when they see that documentation. So
how's everyone get a hold of you? What's the best way if someone?
You could go to IR@freedomventure.com, IR, which stands for Investor Relations, at freedomventure.com. You could actually call me in my office, 781-922-4418, or just GTS, Dave Seymour, Seymour. LinkedIn's always a great way to connect. I love LinkedIn. I'm not a Facebook, TikTok, Instagram dude, but I'm a mature LinkedIn guy today. So you can find me that way as well. So phone number, website, or track me down online.
Dude, get on TikTok. You'd probably crush it. You got the personality.
TikTok. When you can show me that there is a huge database, marketing guy, of accredited investors, doctors, lawyers, and my avatar on TikTok, maybe we'll talk a little business. And you're going to tell me there is right now. I know you are.
Yeah. And you know what? They're growing. We're starting to heavily do some research and development on TikTok because it was only for kids. Now the real players are getting on there.
Let me know, man. I know what I don't know. I know what I know. So your world is not my world. So
well, you know what? I mean, I could probably hook you up with someone that understands something a little bit about video and TV, and you guys could probably figure it out,
I think I got that piece squared away. Right. You do the TikTok shit. I got the rest.
Yeah, it's cool, man. Hey, well, thanks for coming on. Well, yeah, we really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Good call. Appreciate you. Thanks for having me on. Take care.
Yeah, sure thing. And hey, thanks for listening, everyone. Yeah, go out and crush it and close some deals.